What's up guys, Ronaldo here and welcome, and today we are testing Sythra. We're gonna have a look at her skills, what she does, but also in what content is she viable. Is she good in some PvE, is she good in PvP? We're gonna take a look at Gear 3 specifically, how she performs there, and also in the arena. But let's start this whole thing off with her kit itself. So in terms of stats, she has a very low attack interval, and you're gonna feel it when you play that, let me tell you that. And she has pretty decent attack for a piercer marksman, whereas her cost is quite high if you think about it. 15 for a piercer is not that low, of course, but there's also higher ones. So with that, can she justify that cost? Let's find out. So her talent: when a unit retreats, dies, or the hero's summon perishes in range, her attack increases by 15% for 10 seconds. And her next basic attack deals 200% damage and inflicts defense reduction of 25% on the target. If this is triggered while her HP is below 60%, then the duration of her attack bonus is increased by an additional 5 seconds, and also the attack bonus is 20% instead of 15%. So the lower she is, the more damage she gets, very much in theme with all of the other chaotic DPS. Now her ultimate is she summons a tormented soul in attack range, and if you can see this here, the ult range is very unique, very big actually, and she summons that soul in attack range and deals 100% AoE damage 1 times to up to 8 targets around. And then when the hero's current HP is greater than 30%, consumes 40% current HP. So she, with her ultimate, lowers her HP, so she gets the max AoE value out of her passive there. Now the tormented soul rapidly shoots at one enemy within its owner's attack range initially, and shoot 15 times and dealing 230% damage each time. So a lot of burst from that, a lot of burst, but very short sighted burst, very short, just snap and the burst comes out. The tormented soul perishes after all shots are used, prioritizes airborne targets. The arrow gets a return count each time it hits a fallen target. Up to 3 can exist on the field. Then in terms of her attack, is a very basic 120 attack multiplier. Her first passive is when she continuously deals damage to a target, she can stack up to 6 times 5% less attack interval, getting a faster and faster attack cycle in there. And then on top of that, when she can't hit anyone for 6 seconds or more, she starts, instead of doing this, generating 2% rage per second, so getting the rage back for herself. Very self-sufficient on that note. Then in terms of her second passive, Fang of the Serpent, she has 15% defense penetration. Nowadays, you kind of need either penetration, true damage, or a lot of attack, otherwise your damage is not going to be that high. So she goes with the defense pen. 15% is not that high though. That said, she can increase it to 30% defense pen by having allies that are below 70% within 2 tiles of her. And this includes herself. So she only needs 2 other chaotic units that are below 70%, and she gets another 15%. For each unit that is below 70%, she gains 5. So 3 times 5, 15. 15 plus 15, 30. You get the gist. And then in terms of the next passive, just a little bit of an arena damage increase, 15% damage increase. We're going to have a look at her arena damage as well. It's going to be very high. We're currently running her at A0 for this showcase, but we're also going to go real quick into the awakenings. So her A1 is going to be that her soldier has a 10% chance to increase the number of shots by 1, and killing a target can increase it by 4 times. Then her A3 is going to be when her talent is triggered, increases her damage by 15% with an additional 10% against elites and boss units, lasting for 10 seconds. So she's going to be able to deal a lot more damage to tankier units thanks to this. And then her A5 is going to be every 20 times the hero's basic attack deals damage, it also triggers the talent effect. So her talent is going to be applied more consistently. Combine that with that A3 that empowers her talent as well, is going to be a decent steroid. But to have her A5, let's be honest here, we're not getting these soul stones that easily, are we? So first up, I want to showcase you guys how potent she is in terms of the arena, especially the single target arena. So you kind of get a feel of her damage output in a chaotic team, of course, with the Valorant. Now, with the Valorant, you have that big advantage that you will have multiple units that are going to be low HP, and that's what you are gonna be looking forward to, right, if you play that team. So you can just drop the Vivaldi, and he'll take care of everything here, of course, at the beginning. And we can drop our Yao Chan, give him a tech buff. And there we go. And I'm gonna drop her already in now, just to see her damage output. And she's not doing that much without her ultimate, but her ult is up. But we're gonna wait with the next wave that is coming with her ultimate to see really how much damage she can do when you pop that ult in these arena stages. Zack, reducing her HP, bam, instantly gone. Instantly gone is what your opponent is gonna be witnessing. So she's a very good closer, very good finisher for this single target. There we go, bam, immediately gone. She's a very good finisher for this single target arena rounds. Someone like Wukong is specifically, and Salazar used to be a long time ago. Now, of course, he's not as potent anymore. Yeah, it's whatever. It's whatever. But as you can see, her damage, you can just pop her ult and look at the damage. Bam, they're immediately gone. Right, nothing's happening. They just pop. They just pop immediately, and are basically one-tapped. Again, another unit is basically one-tapped from the get-go. And she's a very good finisher. That said, we still need to see how strong she is going to be in the real arena. As I just watched Destin's video as well, and he mentioned something very interesting, and that is that apparently on test server the enemies are not as tanky as in the real arena. So as you can see, this guy is immediately one-tapped. But we'll have to see if this is just a test server thingy, or if in the real game this guy is going to be one-tapped. If the guy wouldn't be one-tapped from her, don't mind the placements, they were off anyways and everything. It was just to showcase you real quick the burst you can get out of her. But if that damage is not going to be enough, then it's a big problem. But from the looks of it, the pace in which she kills everything is immaculate and is extremely, extremely fast. And I want to see how well she can compete in terms of the gear rate 3 specifically. Because if she can compete in gear rate 3 as well, deal a lot of damage there, consistent damage, then she's probably also going to be good for Abyss and so forth. And that's something that we could consider here. So let's go into gear rate 3. So I'm going to use her the same way as I would use a Sylas normally. And the Sylas gets the job done very smoothly. And we'll have to see if she is able to do the same, or if the Sylas is better here than she is. So we'll have to put her in a second. Put her in here. See, as you can see, this is a 1-time speed, and as you can see, the attack speed, you can feel it. You can feel, oh, that's the wrong. You can feel her attack speed being very high, right? But let's see her ult damage here. So she goes. That's far from enough, isn't it? That's far from enough. With the Dalen, with the Yao Chan, with the Yao Chan attack buff on top of everything, that's far from enough. I don't think she's even gonna kill this guy. And this is the same gear I used on the Sylas, and he was able to do it pretty smoothly. So on top of that, she costs more, right, than the Sylas. That's also big to note, which is why my Lady A, for example, here is being placed down too late. But as you can see here, she cannot get the job done. She cannot get the job done. And that's a bit a rough one. So she's not as good as the Sylas in that spot. She costs more than the Sylas. And she seems to be mainly a PvP unit. From what I'm seeing from this first try here. We could also try drop the Lady A in at the beginning instead of her, and hope that the Lady A does everything. But then it's just a Lady A showcase, isn't it? So that, yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be accurate, to be honest, because now we just hope that the Lady A kills everything for us, and that's not how it's supposed to be, right? But yeah, I mean, that damage without allies, you know, without allies that are low HP, as she has 0 allies here that are low HP for her passive as well. Her her damage doesn't have that much penetration, and since she's not killing multiple units, she's also not getting much out of it. And yeah, she's not as strong as the Silas here. She's not as strong as the Silas here with that gear. Silas was able to get his job done. Well, yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. So we'll just have to see how much of an impact she can have in here, together with the Piercer team, together with the Erlang Shen, together with the Lady Alex, and see if that is actually something viable that you could think about, or if it's not. So we're just gonna put the Shen in here. He's taking care of everything from the get-go, and we can also put her in. And yeah, just the first few waves. Come on, next enemy comes in. Shen goes. We didn't really need to pop his ultimate here, especially because it's single target enemies, but it's okay because the Shen is just that strong. He's just that strong, as you can see here. His damage is insanely ridiculous, and I'm thinking of putting her down, but I want to be realistic and put her down first and go from there. So yeah, I mean the Shen takes care of this very easily, of course, but we'll have to see how the rest goes. So we pop this, and we don't really need to pop anything else. They immediately die, even without anyone else here, just the Shen and the Lady A. This is more like a Shen and Lady A showcase here for the anti-air, I have to admit here, guys. So now we place her here, so she's still in the range of the Jiao Chan attack boost. And are we gonna pop her? Ooh, there's a lot of burst here. There's a lot of burst. But there's also a lot of burst from the Lady A. Okay, we're gonna pop this. Should we pop her? I'm gonna wait here. I'll try to use her as a finisher, but yeah, these guys just die very quickly. That's the issue here on the test server, as I found out thanks to Destined, is that enemies are squishier here on the test server in the arena. So they just die, basically. They just die, and they don't even really get into Sythra's range, which is a bit of an issue. Didn't really ult. Let's just ult, so at least we get it ult out, you know? At least we get an ult out of her. And we see her damage here, this guy. One-shotting these small units. But it's just a short amount of burst for many units. And I would say you probably would just use her right now with her ultimate to just finish off the wave and get a fast finisher on the wave. If you can afford that, to do that. But outside of using her as a finisher, I don't think it's just too crazy, because yeah, without her ult she's not doing too much, and her ult is just a very short duration, more or less. So we would just wait and wait for the fight to get slower and slower, right? And now we, for example, we pop the ult, and then Zack, come on, put in another burst. And he does a lot of damage here, the soldier. There we go. And they're immediately all dead at the end here. So she's a good finisher here. And in terms of damage, as you can see, it was just a Shen showcase here. Mainly, of course, these two units have been placed in before the Sythra. But I feel like everyone else could have done her job there as well, if you look at it, right? You could have put anything in there and it would have worked with the lower HP on the test server. So yeah, there's that. But what I can tell you guys from this testing is one thing specifically, and that is she seems more like a PvP unit than anything else, with maybe in PvE some niche cases where she's gonna be good in upcoming new epilogue or upcoming new Void Rift that they announced, where you maybe need to kill enemies the second they show up. You need to kill them as fast as possible. Sythra is your girl there. She just, bam, you know, snaps with her fingers over a long distance and just wipes out the enemies immediately. That's what she's good for. But in terms of consistent DPS, she doesn't seem to be that strong as some of the other units. But of course, that is also because she was tested at a 0. Let me know how you feel about her. Honestly, let's be realistic. I'm not gonna get her anyways, but maybe you will. She looks interesting actually with the dragon scales all over her body. But overall, she just seems to fulfill that PvP, PvP role on her faction, of course, with some PvE viability, but mainly specifically made for PvP. This is already it for Sythra, just a little showcase here for Gear 8-3, how well she does in terms of more consistent damage. As we already saw, she really wants to kill enemies and therefore be able to excel from that and go from there on and just finish off waves, for example, in Arena. That's what I got from my initial testing here. The other units are going to be tested soon as well. I wish you a blessed day. I'm Ronaldo, and I'm out. Peace!